Welcome to another episode of the Neverstopwrestling Podcast. I am your host, Dominic, Dirty Dom if you will, however you want to refer to me as, and we are so close to SummerSlam weekend. I have to mention again, your boy will be there. I will be there for both nights, even Friday night SmackDown, the night before night one. A lot of meet and greets, a lot of people I am going to meet. Me, my brother, my friend. Everyone's going to have a good time, whoever is popping out to New Jersey next weekend. And I am super excited for not only SummerSlam being in New Jersey, but as well as the matches that we're going to see at SummerSlam. But before I dive into that, I want that to be a whole separate podcast episode. We're going to be talking about this past Monday Night Raw, what we saw last night. Let's dive right into it. And a lot of these things that we did see on Monday Night Raw, we did see, they are being announced for matches at SummerSlam. So these aren't predictions. I'm not necessarily going to be talking in depth of who I think is going to win in the matches that are announced for SummerSlam. But a lot of the things that happened on this past Monday Night Raw do affiliate with SummerSlam matches. Before I dive in, obviously, everyone, please, if you could, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment on Spotify, wherever you are listening to this episode. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and let's dive right into this because I am so glad that we're going to see Gunther defending the World Heavyweight Championship against CM Punk at SummerSlam. If you ask me, I think this could potentially main event night one. I don't even think, I like that this match has no stipulation as well. I think just solely the characters that Punk and Gunther are, I think will make this match just a highly anticipated match for SummerSlam. And I don't think it should be an opportunity to be a main event just because it's a world title match. I think we saw it last night on Monday Night Raw. Gunther went toe-to-toe with CM Punk in a segment where one of the first times, at least I've really felt, where CM Punk was beat on the microphone by Gunther. And it was really interesting to see, and this is what I wanted to see from Gunther for honestly the last few months, because the last few months it seems like we've been seeing a different side of Gunther, a Gunther that wasn't intimidating, was showing a little bit of being vulnerable and being scared from his previous opponents. We even saw Gunther get a little scared at Pat McAfee. Was definitely really strange to see from especially the character that we all know that Gunther is. But now we're finally seeing that side of Gunther back. And I'm not going to lie, if Gunther wants to retain his World Heavyweight Championship, he can't be at a vulnerable state of mind. This is CM Punk, the self-proclaimed and honestly proclaimed by a lot of the WWE Universe, in a lot of people's eyes, the best in the world. They don't just call him that for no reason, especially when it comes to talking on the microphone. So the fact that we saw Gunther and Punk go toe-to-toe in a segment last night on Monday Night Raw was really, really cool to see. And I know there's just one more week left until SummerSlam, and we're only going to get one more episode of these two top talent caliber superstars having one more segment. I think next week we're going to see CM Punk drill into Gunther a little bit, get some words that Punk has been maybe festering for this past week as he's, sitting at home and jotting down stuff that he's going to say to Gunther on next week's episode of Monday Night Raw. I love this. I think this shouldn't also be a one-off. I think we should definitely see this feud prolong in the near future after SummerSlam. I think this could easily be a match on a WrestleMania card, no question. I just love someone facing Punk having like a similar intensity on the mic. A lot of people hate Gunther's mic skills for some odd reason. I'm not too sure why. I love Gunther's I don't know what the exact word would be, but I love the way he delivers on the microphone. Like, I love the way he sounds believable. It's not someone going against CM Punk that they're trying to believe what they're saying. When Gunther speaks in the tone that he does, I genuinely believe him when he says that he's going to drop Punk like a wet towel. He's going to send him into retirement. I mean, we did see Gunther retire Goldberg, where there's rumors that Gunther is going to retire John Cena. What would stop Gunther from taking out CM Punk for the foreseeable future? I'm not going to lie, Gunther's getting that resume to where he says stuff like this, and we can't take it with a grain of salt. We actually do have to believe him when he says that he's going to take out superstars when he is in segments or in the middle of a match. Like if he's getting frustrated in a match and, he smack talks in the middle of the ring during a match, like, I'm going to destroy you. I would be genuinely scared because it seems like, with Gunther retiring Goldberg, with Gunther, choking out Goldberg, needless to say, Gunther defeating everyone's fan favorite Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship by choking him out as well. Gunther is an old school technician, professional wrestler, and it's just cool because CM Punk is honestly an old school kind of dude when it comes to the new age crowd of wrestlers that we got in the WWE and just in pro wrestling in general. And as much as Gunther is technically a new school addition to the WWE and pro wrestling, he's got so much old school factors a part of him. His entire moveset in the ring alone and just the way he is as a character is just very old school, at least in my eyes. So I like that Punk's in a feud with someone who is newer to the company and newer to the business, but it feels like an old school kind of vibe because I feel like these two are going to bounce off very well off each other, their energy, their intensity, and I'm very excited about this match. And like I said before, I think it's really cool that we got to see Gunther, look a little bit better than CM Punk on this past Monday Night Raw. Do I think it's going to end that way? No. CM Punk is one of the greatest of all time, especially on the mic. And I think on this next episode of Monday Night Raw, we're going to see the CM Punk that we all know and love. The CM Punk that dropped a pipe bomb, that went toe-to-toe with Dwayne, looking better than Dwayne on the mic, that dropped a Thugonomics promo just a month ago on to John Cena at Saudi Arabia, and several other promos that CM Punk has delivered. I think we're going to see another great promo and segment next Monday Night Raw where CM Punk comes out on top. If CM Punk does come out on top in the next episode of Monday Night Raw, right before SummerSlam, I think Gunther might retain. I'm not going to lie. There's no stipulation to this match. I don't think there's going to be any sort of interferences. But I'm loving Gunther's chances right now, especially since he came out on top the second to last episode. If we know pro wrestling, I think CM Punk's going to get the edge on the next episode of Monday Night Raw. And then usually when that happens, man, the match that superstars have that is right after that episode, the person who was put down on the previous episode usually is out on top. So I don't care, honestly, who wins that match. I'm a huge fan of Gunther. I love CM Punk as well. And for Punk to win his first title in the WWE in over a decade, that would be phenomenal. And to watch it and witness it in person would just add on to the memory of Punk winning the title. And who knows? Do we see Seth Rollins, maybe his injury was a work? Do we see Seth Rollins cashing in on CM Punk at SummerSlam? Punk beats Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. Punk, his first title in over a decade. Seth Rollins faked his injury, comes out. We hear the burn it down. Seth Rollins almost giving a similar treatment that CM Punk gave to Drew McIntyre, where Drew McIntyre held it for 5 minutes. Punk attacked Drew McIntyre. Damian Priest comes down, cashes it in. Damian Priest is our new World Heavyweight Champion. What if we see Punk get his moment that he's been waiting for, similar to Drew McIntyre? Seth Rollins is here to ruin the day for CM Punk. That is an actual possibility, especially if this match is a main event. If this match is not a main event, I don't see a cash-in happening whatsoever, because if Rollins, and I'm not saying that Rollins is not hurt. A lot of people are saying maybe Rollins isn't as hurt as he actually is, and he might still be able to compete, and they're kind of playing it off that he's severely hurt, but they might plan a return at SummerSlam for him to cash in. That would be a remarkable return and a remarkable cash-in, one of the greatest of all time, if that does happen. But we can't get our hopes up. We can't rely on that outcome. I'm honestly just expecting a fantastic one-on-one match between Gunther and CM Punk. But if we see Punk and Gunther main event night 1, I will seriously start getting those thoughts in my head, like, are they going to do is Seth Rollins actually here? Is he going to cash in? Because this is the first two-night SummerSlam. Something major is going to go down, at least in my eyes. I think for people to get invested into another two-night PLE, because a lot of people have their opinions on WrestleMania should be the only two-night PLE, because it's WrestleMania. It's the biggest pro wrestling event of the entire year, in the entire world as well. So to keep adding on to other PLEs to get two-nighters, you gotta make it a similar type of feel, just like WrestleMania, if you do want people to get heavily invested into several PLEs having two-night events. And whether that means Seth Rollins having a historical cash-in on CM Punk, or maybe on Cody Rhodes or John Cena during their match on night 2. Or a historic moment that can happen, Cody Rhodes turning heel, maybe The Rock comes back, John Cena becomes a babyface. That's a whole nother discussion, but let's just say, I believe this SummerSlam is going to be the greatest PLE of 2025, and I think it could definitely help revive a lot of the recent events that we've been seeing between Saturday night's main events, Night of Champions, a lot of recent events have been very one after the other, including this SummerSlam, but I think this SummerSlam is going to definitely shock the world. I think the matches are obviously going to be phenomenal, but I think there's going to be a moment that happens either on night 1 or night 2 that is trending all over social media, and it's going to shock the world. I think especially they want to push this two-nighter SummerSlam event, because this is going to be the thing for the future now. It's two-night SummerSlam. SummerSlam is now 2 nights, and what better way to do it than to start out the first ever two-night SummerSlam with a bang. With a bang being Rollins is able to cash it in. Maybe he doesn't even defend the title right away, but maybe he's able, despite him being hurt, maybe he's still able to go down to the ring, hobbling, cash in, ruin Punk's moment by winning the title, and he goes away while being champion to rub it in CM Punk's face even more, just to take that spotlight away from Punk. It sounds like something Seth Rollins would do, not gonna lie, but that's where I'm at when it comes to a massive moment happening during SummerSlam. And I think it could be involved with this match right here between Gunther and CM Punk. Another match that we did get confirmed last night, because Dominic Mysterio is now clear for action. He's been getting hit by Asuka, Raquel Rodriguez, and, AJ Styles, he's been going through the trenches just trying to get Dominic Mysterio, and AJ Styles is just trying to get that IC title. He's trying to get that Intercontinental Championship. He became a janitor a valet parking guy. Like, he's doing whatever it takes. You gotta respect the hustle to AJ Styles. I mean, it's great and honestly really, really awesome to see because this is Styles just re-signed for 1 year, and it's looking like this could be AJ Styles' final contract in pro wrestling in general. I don't see him going to TNA. I don't see him going to AEW. I don't see him signing another contract with WWE after this final contract. So, to have AJ Styles be so okay and cool with not being so serious now, not saying that he should have stopped being a serious character, but I love this side of AJ Styles. I think this is so authentic for Styles too. And I think I've seen like him playing on Up, Up, Down, Down. I've seen interviews of AJ Styles before. AJ Styles is a funny dude. And I think it's really cool that we're seeing such a generational gap between AJ Styles and Dominic Mysterio having one of the funnest storylines and feuds heading into SummerSlam. I'm very excited for this match, not only because they did a great job of having it be like a comedic relief for a feud, because it's been a great feud for the last couple of weeks, having Styles wanting to face Dominic Mysterio ever since Night of Champions. Dominic Mysterio unfortunately got injured, but they turned it around. They pivoted and made it into a funny storyline. Now heading into SummerSlam, I don't think I'm just speaking for myself here, but a lot of people are now interested in AJ Styles and Dominic Mysterio just with the storyline and the feud in itself. I'm not gonna lie here, I was invested into this match strictly because, one, AJ Styles, obviously, they don't call him phenomenal for nothing. AJ Styles is phenomenal. But Dominic Mysterio is heavily slept on in the ring. I think this match, from an in-ring perspective, can be one of the best matches on the SummerSlam card. I'm not going to lie here. If they give this match at least 12 minutes, this will be a fantastic match. And you got AJ Styles, you got Dominic Mysterio, one of the most hated and loved guys in Dominic, and one of the most loved and respected guys in AJ Styles. Both are great in the ring. Well, one is phenomenal in the ring, the other is very, very, very good in the ring in Dominic Mysterio. This match is going to be awesome, and I love the transformation of AJ Styles, going from obviously, AJ Styles is a Hall of Famer, and now we're kind of seeing him in like an R-Truth role, which I like. I think it's really funny, and it's comedy gold. I love it. It's been nothing short of fantastic. And another thing that has been nothing short of fantastic is the Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch feud involving the Intercontinental Women's Championship. Becky and Lyra, obviously, they're having a Falls Count Anywhere match at SummerSlam, which is very, very smart decision, because this match, especially if this is the end between Lyra and Becky, this should be a stipulation match. And at first, it wasn't announced that it was a stipulation match. Now there's two stipulations to it. One, it's a Falls Count Anywhere, no DQ. Great. This feud has been very gritty. Both women have been phenomenal and very eager to get this championship and to give it the prestige that it so rightfully deserves, and they've been doing a great job with that. And also, if Lyra loses, she can never compete for the Intercontinental Women's Championship as long as Becky Lynch holds on to it. A very similar thing that we saw with Lyra as champion and Becky getting a rematch for the Intercontinental Championship. And then Becky won from that match, because I think we're going to see a very similar situation at SummerSlam. I think this is the opportunity where Lyra Valkyria gets her championship back, and then maybe we involve Bayley into the mix. I'm not too sure. I genuinely thought this was going to be maybe a triple threat match. If not a triple threat match, I seriously thought it was going to be Bayley against Becky for the Intercontinental Women's Championship. But Bayley lost. Lyra pinned her on 2 weeks ago on Monday Night Raw for the number one contender match to face Becky Lynch. And it's fair game. Lyra against Becky seems like it's going to be the ultimate showdown for the women's IC title. But it seems like Bayley has a trick up her sleeve, especially with watching last night. Maybe Bayley will convince Adam Pearce to throw her into the match. Could you imagine a triple threat women's match, Falls Count Anywhere, between not just any three on the roster, but with these three women in Becky, Lyra, and Bayley? They've done such a great job, and I love that this is a long-term story. This has been going on since before Money in the Bank. And actually, Backlash, I believe. Yeah, Backlash. Because Becky and Lyra had their match at yeah. So, this has been going on since you can actually even backtrack it to WrestleMania 41. This is one of the only feuds, and I've said this on like the past 2 episodes that I've recorded, but despite a lot of recent events happening one after the other, this has been the one storyline and feud that has continued and hasn't been a one-off just because it was on one PLE or one Monday Night Raw. This storyline has continued through the last couple of months, and I love that. I think this will be the cutoff between Lyra and Becky, but I don't think it's over for Bayley, though. It seems like Bayley didn't really get to finish her business against either of Becky or Lyra. So, do we see Bayley convince Adam Pearce to include her into the match? Or, since it's a Falls Count Anywhere, do we see Bayley ruin this for Lyra? You know, she tagged with her on this previous Monday Night Raw, which was kind of oddballing, and Bayley was just coming off very fake and phony, but trying to, like, show Lyra that everything's all good, despite Lyra beating Bayley to compete at SummerSlam, and it looks like Bayley's not going to be competing. Bayley's definitely up to something, and I just hope we get to see Bayley on the card, whether she gets involved in the Becky versus Lyra match, or she convinces Adam Pearce to put her on the card, and a triple threat women's Falls Count Anywhere would go absolutely crazy. I think that could easily start off night 1 or night 2. That would be an absolute banger. Regardless of what happens, whether Bayley gets inserted into the match at SummerSlam, or it's still just Lyra against Becky, regardless, I'm so interested in this match, no matter what happens. But I would just love to see Bayley insert herself in some way, somehow, even if she's not a part of the match, but she gets involved into the match. Because Bayley is a huge reason as well as why this title has been flourishing the way it is. It's come from Bayley, it's come from Becky, it's come from Lyra. All 3 women have done their job. But let's give Bayley her flowers too. Let's get her involved in this match, or maybe inserting her into the match. Either way, I just want to see Bayley involved a little bit more. I hope this isn't just a one-off and then Bayley's not involved in the IC title scene again after the Becky and Lyra match. Because Bayley's not done yet. She needs to handle her business and get her work done as well, just like Lyra and Becky are doing. And what a every time Roman Reigns enters the ring, and now just enters the arena now, this dude is something else. I made a post the other day on TikTok saying that Roman Reigns is the most over superstar in WWE history and just wrestling history in general. A lot of people agreed. A lot of people disagreed because of the comparison that I made. I made the comparison of Stone Cold Steve Austin. Obviously, if you just go on YouTube and just type in, honestly, any Stone Cold Steve Austin entrance of him coming out, doesn't matter if it's a pay-per-view or a Monday Night Raw or a Friday Night SmackDown or anything. Stone Cold Steve Austin, when that glass shatters, the entire crowd just erupts. No matter what. And he just walks down to the ring. A lot of people were saying that Stone Cold didn't need to do anything, he just needed to show up, and he got that reaction. A lot of people were saying in the comments as well, Roman can't be compared to Stone Cold because a lot of his entrances are just returns. I don't know where they're getting that from, because if they watch the entire build-up to WrestleMania 41, and also just WrestleMania 40 in general, just the last 2 years as a whole, whenever Roman Reigns shows up, the crowd shows up. Every person in attendance, whether he was a heel during his Tribal Chief WWE Championship reign, or the babyface Tribal Chief that we're currently seeing. Did you hear the crowd last night? The crowd is behind Roman Reigns just because he stands there. Have you ever seen someone get over by just standing still, looking around into the crowd? I'm not trying to make this a competition in any way between comparing Roman to The Rock or Stone Cold or The Undertaker or John Cena or Hulk Hogan or anyone. I'm just saying I've never seen this before. Roman Reigns just stood in the ring last night and they were singing his name, they were chanting OTC, and the man doesn't have to say a word. Insane. He doesn't need to do anything. And another thing that I was realizing, and I believe I heard this on Busted Open on their podcast, Roman Reigns doesn't even have a catchphrase. Yeah, he has he has acknowledged me, but it's not like a tagline that he uses so often to get a pop. He says it right before he speaks, and that's pretty much it. Roman Reigns, a lot of people complain about in WWE, everyone tries to make sure that they get their tagline in, this and that. And yeah, I think I don't understand because a lot of people hate on superstars and wrestlers having a catch line, a catchphrase, whatever you want to call it. But let's be real here, guys. If you don't have something that resonates with that superstar, like for example, Roman Reigns, acknowledge me, John Cena, you can't see me, Cody Rhodes, whoa, LA Knight, yeah, several other superstars, Tiffany Stratton, Tiffy time, and the list goes on and on. Notice how all superstars that have catchphrases are the biggest superstars of all time. Stone Cold Steve Austin, give me a hell yeah. The Rock, jabroni, and several other things that The Rock says. People clown WWE and just wrestlers that have catchphrases, but I hope they realize that makes them, that's not the only thing that makes them over as a superstar, but it only helps the superstar get even more over by putting it on t-shirts, using it in segments to get the crowd heavily involved into the promos. I don't know if people understand what pro wrestling is. This is entertainment. You should be having catchphrases that are either funny or just catchy. Like, I don't know. I think people hate so much, but Roman Reigns, I'll say it again, Roman Reigns is the most over superstar I've ever seen. Call me a 2000 baby, I don't care. I've never seen someone just stand still, not even have a microphone in their hand, and they have people singing their name. They have people singing Roman Reigns' name, and he's just standing there. He just looks around at the crowd. He puts a finger in the sky, and the entire arena does the exact same thing. 15,000 people behind Roman Reigns, and he doesn't even have to say a word. Never seen it before. I know I didn't grow up in the 90s, but I think even if we backtrack to that, no one did it like Roman Reigns is doing it right now. I'm going to say it again. I might use this as another clip just to get it. It seems like Roman Reigns is such a controversial superstar when we bring him up into the Mount Rushmore, and I have no idea why. How? How is that controversial? This should be such a fair argument. I'm not saying it's a solidified fact that Roman is 100% on the Mount Rushmore of greatest wrestlers of all time. I'm not saying it's a fact. This is my opinion. And obviously I have older wrestlers in there too, and that just shows that I'm not being recency bias. If you just look at the work that Roman has done for the company to make it more mainstream in the era that we're currently in, and honestly the last 5 years during the pandemic era as well, which was a horrible era for just everyone in general, but especially for the WWE. And to see where the company is right now, as Roman Reigns as the face of the last 5 years of this company, it's something to really dive into and to really consider of why, whether you like Roman as a character or not, but you need to respect Roman for what he's done to the company and what he's done for the business on why it is where it is today. I think that's what a lot of people get confused on. Put your personal opinion aside and look at the facts and look at what you're watching on a weekly basis. Why Raw is on Netflix. Why SmackDown will probably soon get a huge brand deal, another network deal. On why premium live events are now being shown in movie theaters now across the world. Just look at the big picture here. Roman Reigns is a huge reason. It's not just him, and it's not just all on him. I'm saying he's a huge reason, one of the reasons of why the company is where it is today, because of Roman Reigns. And if you can't, I think that we can consider that a fact. If you can't agree with that, or even just understand that a little bit, I think that's a you problem. Because the Tribal Chief is seriously one of the greatest of all time. And I don't think that's a hot take. I think that's such a fair argument. But we all have our own opinion. And that's just mine. And one more thing that I wanted to talk about on this previous Monday Night Raw was the friendship between Rhea Ripley and Io Sky is just absolutely amazing. These two, despite Io literally being undefeated against Rhea Ripley can't help but love Io Sky. And obviously, this is their characters being like this, but I can seriously see off camera as well, Rhea and Io having such a respected relationship outside of the ring as well. Because I feel like we see it a lot of out of character things when they do bond on TV, and it's so awesome to see, because they're the two of them, Rhea and Io Sky, are one of the biggest stars in the women's division, let alone in the entire company. So it's really, really cool to see two of some of the biggest stars get along so well, and they compete against each other pretty consistently, and just as recent and consistent as this upcoming SummerSlam. We're going to see the triple threat match, Naomi as the Women's World Champion against Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. Triple threats, I know a lot of people probably already knew this, but I thought about this earlier today. Triple threats are no DQs. So this is a match that I definitely want to dive into on the predictions episode that I'm going to record next week, because this match is very tough. I seriously don't know who's going to go over at the end of this match. Does Rhea get it back? Does Naomi, continue her reign that just started not too long ago? Does Io Sky get her championship back that she kind of lost in an unfair way? When we go into the match that Rhea and Io had, which was a 5-star classic, and it ending by Naomi cashing it in, and there was no winner or loser between the Rhea and Io match. Naomi cashed in, made it a triple threat, then pinned Io. So, does Io win her championship back? Does Rhea get her Women's World Championship that we haven't seen her hold it for a pretty long time now? I know a lot of Rhea haters probably don't want to hear that, but it's true. Rhea hasn't held the title in quite a long time. I know she's been in each title match like 8 of the last 9, but Rhea's one of the biggest stars in the company, and I've just come to face that, and no matter how many times it seems like they throw her into the mix of the title matches just to have Rhea into the main event scene for the world title. Even if you don't like Rhea, you just have to understand that she's one of the biggest stars in the company, not just among the women in the company, just in the entire company. I would put Rhea up there with Cody, Roman, Jay, and I'm not going to include Cena because Cena's not here for the long haul. He's retiring in the next few months. I would put Rhea in the same category as Rhea, not as Rhea. I would put Rhea in the same category as Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, CM Punk. I don't think this is a far stretch at all. If we can't agree that this might be a hot take for some people, but I don't think it is. Rhea Ripley is the greatest women's wrestler, I think, of all time. I think we can for sure say that, especially knowing that Rhea is 27. She has another, at least, I'd say, 8 to 10 years if she wanted to go even further onto that. And all the stuff that she's accomplished so far in her career, and just there's so much more to happen in her career, even more opportunities. I can definitely see Rhea being one of the next women's main eventers at a WrestleMania between someone like Stephanie Vaquer or a Bianca Belair or any other women in the division. Like, I don't think that's a hot take at all. I think seriously we need to consider, and this is not discrediting any other woman who has ever competed in WWE, but Rhea Ripley has the same aura as a Roman Reigns and a Cody Rhodes. It's just, when you hear the music hit that Rhea has, and you hear the crowd piercing loud, it sounds like it could break glass. And then same thing with Rhea. Rhea could just stand there. And she doesn't need to do anything. She doesn't need to give you a catchphrase. And even if she did give a catchphrase, it's perfectly fine, but it just goes to show that just by standing there, just by walking down the entrance ramp, and the reaction that she gets, that's how you know you're one of the biggest stars ever. And the biggest stars in the company currently. If you don't have to do flashy moves to get a pop, you just have to show up. Show up, show out. It's something that not everyone can do. And I think the names that I did list to put in the same category as Rhea, I think all those superstars have that same feel as well. Jey Uso, when Jey Uso makes his entrance, the entire crowd erupts, and all Jey has to do is just make his entrance. And he gets the loudest pop of the entire night. People literally pay to yeet with Jey Uso. As funny as that might sound to some people, like, some people might not understand, like, oh, you're just paying to go to be a part of an entrance? You don't know what that entrance is like. And I've been a part of Jey Uso's entrances quite a few times. I think 3 or 4 times. And dude, like, when you're in it, when you're in the arena, way different than watching at home. Like, it's unreal feeling. Same thing with Cody Rhodes. When Cody Rhodes comes out, when you hear the knock before his music hits, the crowd erupts. Like, the building, the roof feels like it's going to lift off the entire arena. And just like how I was explaining about Roman Reigns, we could have this discussion, like, this could be his own separate episode, but like, same thing with Roman Reigns, I'll leave it at this. Roman Reigns just needs to stand there and he gets people singing his name, chanting OTC, getting the loudest pop of the night. Rhea Ripley is in that category, like it or hate it, whether you're a fan of Rhea or you're not a fan of Rhea. I think that's a bona fide fact. And I think people need to stop with the Rhea hate. Not gonna lie. But yeah, the Rhea and Io friendship is phenomenal. Probably the best friendship in wrestling. And I hope we don't see it end with Rhea backstabbing Io or Io backstabbing Rhea. Because we need to keep this as safe as possible. We need to hold on to this. Because I would love to see Rhea and Io maybe be in a tag team in the future. Because they have the chemistry just from the two, like, each character that they are. And also in ring wise. Rhea and Io, some of the best in the entire world and just the entire company. I would love to see Rhea and Io potentially taking over the tag team division. We're seeing Charlotte and Alexa enter the tag team division. We got Roxanne and Raquel. Liv Morgan is also inserted into the tag division. Maybe we see Bianca Belair enter the tag division again. Tag division for the women is looking very strong, and I'm very happy to see that because especially with Liv Morgan getting injured, a lot of people were saying, relinquish the titles, we don't need them anymore. And I was saying that would just be completely disrespectful. Give it some time. We're seeing top talent enter the tag team division like Charlotte and Alexa. The Kabuki Warriors are back. Roxanne took Liv Morgan's spot. Just, you gotta hold on sometimes. And now we're seeing that the tag division's looking great. It has a SummerSlam match. Roxanne and Raquel are defending the titles against Charlotte and Alexa. Could you imagine if Rhea and Io were inserted into that tag division? That would be absolutely phenomenal. But that is where I wanted to end it off with the Monday Night Raw recap and analysis of everything that I thought was very, very important. Obviously, we got Friday Night SmackDown coming up, and then we also have the last Raw before SummerSlam. And I will be at SummerSlam. I will be there with my brother and my friend, and I'm going to be... We got our fingers crossed. We plan on doing a live tailgate podcast episode with tables, ladders, and pods. It's going to be a big group of all of us. I believe there's 6 of us total. We're each going to give our takes on night 1 before night 1 happens. We might even do a recap right after the event in the parking lot with everyone still there. There's so much stuff that's going to be happening, but I believe we're definitely going to get that done. Whether it's on my channel or it's on their channel, that'll be very, very cool to do. And just the environment of all the wrestling fans, coming through the arena, going through the parking lot. It's a very, very cool atmosphere. Everyone just playing theme songs and everything. It's great. If you've never been to an event where it's an event like SummerSlam or WrestleMania, the parking lot, like a couple hours before the show even opens the doors, it's very, very cool. I highly suggest doing that. But that's all I'm going to be talking about for this episode. I will see you on next Tuesday or next Wednesday. Most likely next Tuesday. I'm gonna keep consistently uploading on Tuesday. I think Tuesday will be the day where I get an episode out every single week. So, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. If you could drop a like, subscribe to the podcast, and let me know your favorite things that happened on this previous Monday Night Raw, and let me know some of the hot takes that I dropped on here as well. Do you agree with them or you disagree with them? Let's talk about it in the comments below. That's what this is for. And as always, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys in the next one.